Hey guys, it's John, ReelBlue Custom Rods, and welcome back to the channel. And today I wanted to talk about maintaining, cleaning your telescopic or compact fishing rod. Just wanted to give you a couple of tips and also wanted to talk a couple of things about this ghost horn that I think are pretty important to understand if you're going to want to own one of these. First of all, let's talk about the value, right? So I think, my personal opinion is, I think the value, what you're paying for in this fishing rod, in this telescopic fishing rod, I think is okay. I think it's reasonably priced, and I've used this fishing rod quite a bit lately, and it's delivered. And I've learned some things about it that I think is important for you to know about it, to make an informed decision on whether or not you want to purchase it. And then if you do want to choose to purchase it, which I think, again, for me, this was a good purchase. You know how to maintain it, or a better way to maintain it. And then again, those things to think about. So first of all, there will be a link in the description below to where you can take a look at this fishing rod if you're interested in picking it up. And so the fishing rod that I just purchased the rod and reel combo. I didn't purchase the case with the lures and all of that stuff in the line. And again, this is the ghost horn with the GT300, and you can see full carbon handle and rod with a telescoping, and it comes in this green color, if you will. So let's start how it is basically stored. I keep the reel on here, and I just, reel down my line all the way to the end, nice and compact. It has my line on here, and I can store this in my, somewhere in my boat, in my car, the truck, or at the house, and then whenever I'm ready to use it, I can pull it out and take it fishing. When we are telescoping or putting the rod into action, so I like to pull this out, and you can see, so you got the green Phantom, right? 7-foot medium again, and this is the ghost horn. But when I'm doing this, of course, I want to have my bail open on my reel, so I have my line out, and then all I'm doing is extending these out. I'm not pulling too hard. But what I am doing, I am lining up my guides with my reel so everything is nice and straight, and I give it a good tug and get it locked in place. And I do that with all of the sections of this rod, and then that gets it locked in place. Now, one of the things that I want to show you, or a few of the things that I want to show you, and we'll start here. So you can see that this is flared on this end here. When you're collapsing this rod, you don't want to just jam it down all the way down like that, right? Because you see what happens when I jam it down. You basically lose your tag wrap, that green tag wrap there, and then your finish on your guide wrap is actually going down inside that metal piece. So I like to gently close those down, and that's the same with every single one of these. So you see, if you just start jamming these things down in here, and I got some line, I got a little bit of line everywhere. So if you just start jamming these things in here, hold on a second, getting that line taken care of, then you could run the chance of damaging your finish, just by forcefully pushing them in there. So I wouldn't do that. They do fit in there. They do kind of hide away. So where that tag wrap does kind of go in there already, but I don't recommend you pushing and collapsing that thing all the way down so you lose that down in there. The next thing, what I've noticed, so for your tip top portion, or the very first section of the rod, you want to get it lined up You want to make sure your tip top is in line with the rest of your guides, and then you want to pull it out and just give it a tug. Don't tug on it super hard, but you do want to give it a little bit of a tug to make sure it's locked in place, and that way this doesn't spin around on you when you're casting, because it will tend to do that sometimes. So you want to make sure that's in place. And that's the same for the sliding guide. This is a sliding guide, right? So this is what helps it get down to the packable size that it is. And all you do is push the sliding guide down. But if you just go like to right here, when you cast, that thing's going to start spinning over, and you're going to start spinning your line around that front top of your rod. So what I like to do is I like to just give that a push all the way down to where just about where it stops, and I make sure it's in line with the tip top and the other guide, and then it will stay in place. No problems. It will stay in place. Super easy to cast, and you're good to go. So that is the pieces that I think are probably really the most important, right? Is making sure that you pull when you're extending your rod, you're making sure everything's in line and tight. Your guides are in line. You pull the sections to make sure they're tight. You don't pull them too hard where you almost kind of pull them apart, essentially. And then the sliding guide, you want to make sure you get that exactly where you want it. And then when you're done, you just kind of turn it left and right a little bit to loosen it up to where it's back into its sliding state. The next thing, and the last thing that I'll talk about with respect to the guides, is I do not recommend you guys grab the guides to adjust the rod. So if you notice, like, a couple of your guides, let's say this thing was fully extended and you had guides that were like out of whack, do not grab it by the guide to rotate it. Collapse it down to where you can get some slack in that portion of the blank, and then extend it out. And then just keep your fingers on it, make sure it's lined up, and it's good. If you adjust and twist here at the guide, what's going to happen is you're going to bend your guides, and you're going to put strain here on where the guide wraps and the finish are, and that could cause the finish to crack, and then you get water in there, and then it erodes the guides, and then you have a whole bunch of problems. And then now you want to do guide replacement on this telescoping rod. So I think those are really the big keys to understand about a telescoping rod. I've never had a telescoping rod until I purchased this one and a couple others that I'll be sharing with you. I just wanted to do some testing on these telescoping rods. I think the technology is great and the concept is great. But from the polls that I've done here on YouTube in the community tab, I was very interested to find that a lot of people are not interested in telescoping rods, or even using them, or even owning a telescoping rod. So that's really why I decided to do this video on it. So one, I just want to make sure people are informed about telescoping rods and some of the technology, best practices to employ it. And two, how to maintain them. And three, make sure you're buying the rod that you want to buy for yourself. So I don't know if these things just have a bad rap, or if they failed on people and people have just decided to say, hey, I'm not using a telescoping rod. Full disclosure, so far, this 7-foot medium, the only thing I've used it for is trout fishing. And I've caught some decent trout with it. It could be maybe a little stiff for some trout fishing, again, a 7-foot medium, but I dig it. I like it. And I am looking forward to do some other fishing applications with this, just to run this through the traps and see what we think. The next part is the locking nut. I do like the locking nut for the reel seat. It's a nice carbon. It's got some decorative, trim and rings on the locking nut. So I think that's pretty sexy. Just maintains that green phantom look, if you will. Of course, you have the split grip EVA foam. And then you also have here where you can unscrew this. You can put some stuff in the bottom if you wanted, or you could put put some stuff at the bottom to kind of give this a weighted butt, if you will. The other thing is the center of balance on this rod. The center of balance on this rod is pretty good. Of course, when it's collapsed, I've got the one finger behind the reel seat, and that's where it's going to stay. But of course, once I extend this rod, the center balance is going to go off a little bit. It's going to be further down here. But it is a pretty balanced rod. It is easy to fish all day if you're using spinners or something like that. And it does have some good action. It does have some sensitivity to it. So when you're getting a bite, if you're using bobbers, or if you're using artificial bait and you're just down at the bottom for trout fishing, you'll definitely see that sensitivity there with the bite. So let's talk about maintenance on this rod. Because I think that's important to understand, especially if you want to extend the life of the rod that you purchased. And what I use is, you can get these Ping Mike. This is a 3-pack Ping Mike silicone rags. You can get those at Amazon. Again, I'll have a description down in the comments below if you're interested. And I think that using a silicone rag is really probably one of the best ways to preserve this rod. And so what I'm going to do, and so again, at the top, you should see the green Phantom 7-foot medium. And then on the bottom, it's got all the other stuff. So it's a line weight, 8 to 17 pounds, lure weight, 1/4 ounce to 5/8 ounce, right? And it's a medium power and a moderate fast action rod. So what I like about the silicone rag is, because this is a telescoping rod, I like to use the silicone rag to just wipe the rod down when I'm done using it, right? And then we collapse that portion of it. And I think the silicone rag, as you will see, helps preserve the rod. But what it does is it essentially kind of lubricates the carbon rod pieces. So when I'm compacting the rod, I'm essentially cleaning the blank, right? But then lubricating it, which is going to extend the life, especially when we are sliding this thing in and out to put it into action for fishing, right? All right. And then the other thing I can do is come down again with the silicone rag, and I can wipe down the reel. Again, just a way to preserve it, keep it clean, kind of lubricate everything a little bit. And the same thing down here on the bottom. And then what I like to do is unscrew the cap. Put the cap back in. And then I'm just going to reel up this line. I'll take out the slack a little bit. There we go. And then I've got my stuff rigged back up for some trout fishing, as you can see, with power bait. But then we're good to go. And then this is all cleaned up, wiped down with a silicone rag, right? And that's going to help me extend the life of this rod and make sure, that I'm able to use this, and for years to come, hopefully, and make sure that I am, not overpowering the rod, if you will, by taking parts, by extending it and collapsing it. And so again, you want to make sure, not grabbing by the guides, you don't want to overextend the telescoping pieces. You want to extend them out. And then you also, for that floating guide, you want to make sure you get that pushed down in the right spot where you would like it. when you're getting ready to employ the use of that rod. So I hope this video helps. I hope this helps give you, an informed decision, one, about the Ghost Horn Green Phantom and the GT 3000 fishing rod reel combination. Again, 7-foot medium power rod with a moderate fast action. Great fishing rod so far for me. And I hope this helps you make an informed decision if you choose to purchase this rod. And again, the Ping Mike silicone rags, which are perfect for cleaning telescopic rods, are going to help you preserve the life of this rod, make sure it's functioning the way you want it to function. So thanks again, guys. I appreciate all the support to the channel. And until next time, make sure you watch this next video here. Take care. Bye.